Let's move on to main topic number 2. And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Jerry Aguilar, who writes, "Greetings, John. One of my most anticipated movies from 2021 is The Batman, and every update we get gets me more excited. With Warner Brothers having no problem with R-rated material, and that footage we have gotten from the set, Batsuit reveal, the leaked photo of a victim of the Riddler, looks edgy and realistic. It got me thinking, could this be the first R-rated live-action Batman movie? Thanks. And bring on the filthy." All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Jerry. And yes, of course, one of the films we're all really excited about is Matt Reeves' Batman, which is finally, what was it, 3 years after they announced Matt Reeves was going to be directing it, 2-3 years after? And finally, it's actually getting made, on a bit of a pause right now, obviously, but it is in the midst of being made and produced. And Rob, what has surprised me is in the last little while, a number of people have been writing in and asking, even suggesting that this Batman movie is going to be rated R, to which there's never been any indication whatsoever that this Matt Reeves Batman iteration is going to be rated R. There's been none, like absolutely zero. But still, I'm seeing a lot of places online popping up, and the debate continues to rage about whether it will be or should be in that case. Let me play both sides of the fence here for a second. Let's talk for a minute about why maybe it is actually feasible. Why it might actually be possible that this Matt Reeves Batman movie could actually be rated R. Number one, Jerry said it in the email, right? We have seen Warner Brothers embracing R-rated stuff, right? They went R-rated with Joker to great success. I believe they went R-rated with Birds of Prey to not such great success, but whatever. But the important thing is here, we've seen them willing to embrace R. And with the great success of Joker, Birds of Prey notwithstanding, but with the great success of Joker, there could be an attitude over at Warner Brothers to look at that and go, wow, we had amazing success with that. How cool would it be to have an R-rated Batman movie? This is a fresh new start. This isn't Ben Affleck's Batman, right? It's a fresh new start. They have a clean slate. They have a blank page. If they want to do rated R, now's the time to do it. If you're going to do rated R with Batman, it's not the time to do it when you do 2 Batman movies that are PG-13 and then all of a sudden change gears and go to an R rating. This is the time to do it. They've had success. They've demonstrated they're open to it. And the timing seems to be right. So I think if you're somebody who's looking for a reason why they would want to do that, I think those are some pretty legitimate reasons. That being said, Rob, and while those are all valid points, absolutely valid points, and there's an argument to be made there, I still think the argument against it outweighs it, and I don't think they're going to go in that direction. Number one, we already talked about the fact that there's been no inclination that they're going rated R. None. Has some of the stuff we've looked grim and dark? Sure, but so did The Dark Knight. So, I mean, and that was PG-13, so nothing wrong there. The other thing is this, Batman has always been, not just on the screen, but in the comics, has always basically been PG, or PG-13, at any rate. So when you combine the fact with Batman is not an experiment like Joker was an experiment, right? Batman's not that experiment. Batman is a character you should be able to bank $1 billion on. If done right, you should be able to bank $1 billion on. That can have wide appeal. So all that stuff combined, Rob, no, I don't think Warner Brothers is contemplating or thinking about an R rating. I don't think Matt Reeves is making this movie to be an R-rated movie, and I don't think that's the direction they're going to go. But again, I say that acknowledging there are some pretty compelling arguments to the contrary as well. Rob, we're seeing these events unfold. You're hearing the arguments for and against. What's your approach to this? What's your analysis of this whole thing?
Well, I mean, like you just said, obviously there's never been an R-rated Batman movie, but Joker has proven it shattered any expectation by making over $1 billion. Here's what I would do if I was a studio executive. I would say to Matt Reeves, make your movie. Make your movie. Don't worry about a rating. And if but be mindful that we're not going to make that decision until we've seen it. And I think they're going to assess what kind of a movie they have when it's done. And if it's going to be R-rated, there's a pretty compelling argument that you could make $1 billion with an R-rated Batman movie. On the other hand, there's considerations like merchandising. You know, they do still sell a lot of Batman toys. There's a lot of ancillary markets. There's video games, but even the Arkham Knights video games are pretty R-rated. So, you know, it would be another way that they would do something unexpected. I think Joker was unexpected in terms of making it R, making it a standalone movie. I think they're open to it. I think under Hamada's regime, they are open to seeing what happens. I don't think they're going to make a call while the movie's being made. Remember, like, if you look at Dark Knight, the opening scene, the bank heist, when Joker takes out that bank, the mob-run bank, there's no squibs. She guns down people with a machine gun. Yeah. And when you watch it the next time, there's no blood. You know, there's no squibs because they couldn't do that. That kind of violence would push that movie into R-rated territory. But I think now that they know that the market would bear an R-rated movie and they could potentially make $1 billion to make yet another Batman movie, I think to make it somehow different is almost, in a way, guaranteeing they might get box office they wouldn't otherwise. Sure, everyone wants to see a Batman movie, but we've seen a lot of Batman movies. And if this was the first Batman movie, they could actually turn that into a marketing hook that was rated R. You know, this is the first R-rated Batman movie, and if it was down and dirty and gritty the way we've never seen Batman, maybe it'll make them more money. I don't know.
How does that, though, would that be short-term thinking, though? Because, you know, we know right now Walter Hamada's got them thinking individual films, but we know at some point they're going to go shared cinematic universe, very shared cinematic universe at some point. I mean,
right.
The allure of $2 billion films is just too great. Does that affect or impact their ability to do that with that Batman if they do go R-rated at this point?
Well, that's hard to say, I think. But your audience for these movies has been growing up. You know, your core audience they were watching Batman the animated series as kids. You know, they grew up with they're growing up and they're going to Deadpool. You know, they're going to Joker, and I think that people are becoming more tolerant as comic book movies are growing and evolving. Look, $1 billion is still the magic number they're not spending $300 million on this movie. You know, they're pulling it back. They've got a new director. They're doing some interesting things like Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson has never really, other than the Twilight Saga, has never headlined $1 billion franchise. So I think they're trying to do some new and innovative things with this movie, and making an R-rated Batman might be one of those things. And I don't necessarily think, I mean, it's a gamble, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad one. I think, though, that they're going to wait. I don't think there was a decision made when they made the film, when they're imposing a rating on it yet. He's like, I bet they were like, make the movie you want. And if we have to make changes, you know, reshoots are par for the course for these movies now. They know they're going to go back in and do pickups. And if they need to tone the movie down or something, they'll do it. But if this movie has kick-ass action, like I think it does, fights that we haven't seen before, Batman, like, knock down, drag out, brutal fights like you see in The Raid, my beloved The Rad, as I like to call it. I mean, if we get that kind of a Batman, like we've never seen, where the action scenes are just spectacular, I think that they might go for our rating, man.
All right. Well, the question here is, guys, I think there's some valid arguments to be made both ways. I don't think they will personally at all, honestly, but there are some good statements there. What do you guys think? Is there some stuff here that both Rob and I maybe have been overlooking and not taking into consideration? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.